I am Marcus James Dixon with Gold Derby, and we are here with Gabe Hilfer, the Emmy-nominated music supervisor from the White Lotus on HBO. Gabe, you were also nominated last year in this category for Ozark. What does the double recognition from your peers mean for you?
I mean, it means a lot. I am super humbled and flattered to like it to be nominated for two totally different projects. Like literally could not have been more different episodes that I was nominated for. I mean, both of them are wildly popular shows, and I think that is certainly not to be discounted in the thought process here. But like, you know what? It's just I'm like I said, excited, humbled, and like every one of the shows that was nominated last year and this year, I'm a fan of, and it's excited to be kept in the same company.
Yeah, this is a good category. And the Best Music Supervision is still relatively new at the Emmys. This is only the seventh year it's existed. And, for any Emmy voters out there who may not know exactly what it is they're voting on, what would you like to share? You're basically bringing the show's narrative to life through music.
Yeah, I mean, music supervision, I think, has historically been maybe, I don't want to say overlooked, but I mean, like you said, the category has only been around for 7 years, and there's a delineation, like there's sound editing and sound supervising and different categories, and I think this one and how it differentiates itself from composing is important. And I think the composing is obviously the original music, of which sometimes I'm helpful in, like I'll give notes, or we go hand in hand. But a lot of the source music, the licensed music, the on-camera performances, all of that stuff is really what this category is about. And working on it from the script level and figuring out how to get the showrunner's vision up on the screen through songs, through performances, through pre-records, and all of what goes into that is I think how I would best describe this category.
And you have to pick one episode for the judges to look at. And the episode you chose was Bull Elephants, the third episode of season 2. That's the one where Jennifer Coolidge's husband leaves her in Italy alone, and then Aubrey Plaza and Megan Fahey go away for the night, and their husbands party back at the hotel. Fill us in about why this episode was chosen as your Emmy submission.
Because I felt like it spanned a really interesting breadth of what we were doing this season. We had some kind of more typical stuff, which was the painting the picture, the ambient, and the montage stuff at the beginning with setting up Italy. Then there's, I mean, in no particular order, there's a band on camera playing the Godfather music in front of the Godfather mansion, which we had to figure out. There's Giuseppe playing a song, the piano player in the lounge of the hotel, or in the restaurant of the hotel. And then I liked a lot of the stuff that we were able to do at the end. Like there were just, I felt this episode really encapsulated, from the on-camera performances to the montages to the fun to the mystery to the intrigue, what source music could help, how source music could help the narrative of the story and be seamlessly sewn into the fabric of the episode.
Yeah, it runs the gamut of everything you need. And the episode begins with Nina Nana by Pink Martini playing in the background as we check in with the characters. They're waking up, they're starting their days. What did you like about that song in particular? Why was that a good, opening song?
Well, I feel like that song embodied the beautiful establishing shots of Italy and the hotel sort of just waking up, and the different hotel workers making the lounge chairs by the pool and all that. The beautiful drone and establishing shots of the water and the hotel and the cast. And I also really, there's like an intrigue to it. Like there's something that has I don't know, a lot of this Italian music that we found had a little, just like a hint of ominous, like tension coming. Like even no matter how beautiful it was, at least in the context of putting it in these scenes, at least it made me wonder always, like, when was the mystery gonna unveil itself? And you know, and in this particular scene, it also goes over, it goes over all those establishing shots, but then it's over Valentina as she's in the cafe, and she sort of expresses herself and really exerts herself against like a guy who's trying to pick her up, and kind of gets him to back off, and it kind of helps her character too. It shows that she's a badass. And it was beautiful, and I think that juxtaposition even there was the grace of the song, the beauty of the song over the grace of the hotel, and then into the nitty gritty, like Valentina's storyline. You see Ethan running, and it all kind of starts to tie in together. And then you see Dominic wake up with the two prostitutes in his bed. So like it kind of just trails off over that.
And I love how the very last scene is somebody else with the two prostitutes.
Yeah, exactly. This scene ends with that, and the next episode very much begins in the exact same way, but with Ethan and Cameron.
And you mentioned the Godfather moment where the grandfather, son, grandson trio, they're having lunch, and then that classic song from the movie is heard. Can you talk about the process of getting the rights to that film song? Was it easy? Was it difficult?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I didn't know if it would be easy or difficult. I've never licensed anything from that movie before. The song itself was not tough I mean, we paid for it, and we like sent all the information, and we went through the process that you normally go through with a regular source queue. And they were game. Like, it approved pretty quickly. It was a pretty smooth situation, and then the band that's there is actually playing it. So sometimes you do like a pre-record, and sometimes you do like try to kind of anticipate any issues that might come up, and we had contingencies for all that, but the band, it worked perfectly, and they played that in another song a little bit later too.
And you mentioned earlier that you work closely with the composer, Cristobal Tapia de Veer. And I noticed that at the end of the episode where that club jam is playing Piena, I think it's called, and then it kind of goes into Cristobal's score and then back into the song. Can you talk about that moment and in your collaboration overall with him?
Well, Chris, so I came into this show in season 2. Like, so I did not work on season 1. Like a fantastic music supervisor, Janet Lopez, did season 1. She subsequently went and took an in-house job somewhere else, and so she wasn't available for season 2. So that's a backstory to the fact that like this team was already in place when I came in, right? So Cristobal is a genius, and he and Mike have a shorthand, and he and the editors work together closely as well. And so I was just there to like give notes when asked, like, what do we think about this? What do we think about that? But for the most part, him and Mike have a lot of history for all of season 1, and they kind of did their own thing on the score. In the context of your actual question, I think Piena works so well there, and it's like this amped up, incredible party cue that really it just exemplifies like what they're going through, and you can almost feel them getting drunk in the way that the camera movements are going on, and Ethan kind of submerging himself underwater, and the effect that's put on the song, so it like feels like it's playing in the pool area. It all works so well. But then the score, I feel like, does a fantastic job of breaking it up and kind of getting more into the minds and the storyline of the characters themselves, and less in the diegetic moment of them getting drunk and high and having a wild time at the pool. But it does look like a fun time.
Thinking about the season overall as a whole, is there one song cue or one moment that you're really proud of, that you just felt like magic was happening as this song kicks in at the right moment?
One of them was in this episode when we were able to do the Il Nostro Concerto by Umberto Bindi, where they're doing the they're almost like where Ethan and Cameron are playing a game of chicken on the
Oh yeah.
jet skis. You know, we found just like the rising tension. It comes right after the scene where Daphne talks about she would hate to be a man and how men are super competitive and men are, you know, and that's kind of, I feel like it ties in with her analogy to bull elephants. And then the very next scene, we see these guys going at each other. And if one of them doesn't swerve, they're like gonna crash and who knows what would happen. But they swerve and then they're chasing each other around. And that song really like, the way it builds and elevates, I feel like it kind of helps with the tension standoff moment. I mean, and then it turns into them just like having fun like little boys, like with them smiling and it was edited like absolutely impeccably, where their mouths are open at the end when there's this like we had no idea that the song would be in there, but the way that the shot is of both Ethan and Cameron at the end with their mouths open and it almost is like they're singing the song with the vocals coming up at the end is really cool.
And it's good foreshadowing for the finale when they're in that same body of water and they're beating each other up in the ocean.
Well, water is like a big theme in like this season, last season, and I feel like that is you know, I don't know the reasoning necessarily, like that was not something I'm aware of, but just like you're saying, like that these things all happen in the water. They're like he almost drowns them in the water, you know, a lot of water pipes.
And the big mystery of the season was, you know, which character is going to end up dead in the water. And it turns out to be Jennifer Coolidge, of course. My reaction was just pure shock. Do you remember what was your initial thought when you saw that or heard that would be happening to her?
Well, I read it in the script and I was also shocked because I kind of like, as she's the only character that carries over from season one, you kind of think that she'll be the through line for like the White Lotus forever.
Yeah.
But I think that's the genius of Mike is that like, you know, he gives you these compelling stories that bring unexpected surprises. And also that her demise is so it's so unremarkable. Like, you know, like it's like you think she's gonna die. Like, I mean, you don't think that, but like she has so many opportunities to die in the shootout, or like you understand that like the whole thing is like built around potential, you know, around killing her, and she shoots her way out of it like a boss, and then like slips and falls and hits her head. I mean, that's just such a fun, unexpected way to, you know, get the ultimate conclusion.
I think Mike White called her death operatic at one point. And did you use a lot of opera with the Tanya character specifically?
We did. I mean, they go to Madame Butterfly. I can't remember what episode that is. Is that maybe like maybe 4 or 5, something like that? Yeah, in 5 they go to Madame Butterfly. They go, you know, the guys take her to the opera, and we call that back at the end, and that's like what we always talked about for the end. And like, you know, there's the tie-in with that and her tragedy of being this wealthy woman who has everything, and like, and then this is how it all ends for her. So yes, we did try to make it like that, and Italy obviously lends itself to being an operatic stronghold.
And everyone's so excited for season 3. I know you can't tell us anything, but I know it's going to have like a uniquely Asian theme, Mike White has said. And
you know, that's as much as I know.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, like, I mean, I've talked to the producers, and like I mean, I'm reading the same things you are, but like they were scheduled to probably go into production or right-ish now if there hadn't been a strike. So I think that I haven't read anything. I have no. It's like one of those things where like they don't tell you the information so that you're not, if you get tortured by the enemy, you're not
by the press.
Yeah. You're not able to. Yeah. Maybe not the enemy, but I use the military now. You know what I mean? They don't want to tell you anything so that if under duress, you wouldn't possibly leak anything. I don't even know anything.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it'll get a ton of Emmy nominations, just like season 1 and season 2 did. And before I let you go, I'm a huge Walking Dead fan, and I know you worked on that show, and you're working on the upcoming Daryl Dixon spinoff. Is there anything you can tease or tell us without getting, killed off like a zombie?
Let's see. What can I tell you without getting? I mean, it's going to be good. It's in production now, or it's finishing production now. We're just starting. It's funny you say that because I got the first versions of some of the episodes very recently. In fact, like very, very recently, and we're just going through it and giving a music pass and doing what we can do, because it's a good continuation, I think, of the storylines that a lot of people want to see wrapped up and continued on, and I think that hopefully it won't disappoint.
Well, Gabe, thank you so much for chatting with us. Best of luck at the Emmy Awards whenever it may happen, and we're going to be rooting for you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.